Okay, so now we'll be moving into our workshop session on creating effective proposals. So thank you to everyone who have stayed with us throughout the challenge announcement. We really appreciate it. So for today, we've actually invited Raphael, a specialist in entrepreneurship from Singapore University of Social Sciences, to guide you through how to craft strong and compelling proposals. Yeah, so I'll be passing on the time to Raphael.
Thanks, Yamin. Good day, everyone. Very happy to be here today. Such a privilege to address such a very excited crowd. Good numbers as well. Okay, let me just check if I have visual on my slides before I start into anything. And okay, can I just get a sound off if the visuals and the slide formatting and all that are good?
Yep, oh,
Yep.
it's good.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so I'm with you for the next segment on proposal writing and also about creating your 3 minutes video. I saw quite a bit of questions coming in. In fact, they were quite non-stop, right? And we had questions on business modeling and so on. How I intend to bring everyone through today, right? In terms of running through the components required for proposal, if we are comprehensive enough, you would be able to cover your business model, right? But before I move into it, just a disclaimer, to make sure that nobody is shortchanged, there are a lot of things that is being put into these slides. Pick what best works for you. Right, pick what best works for you, what you have the most access to, what types of resources you have to be able to get this information out. Again, it's only 5 pages for your PDF file, and don't go font size 6 or anything like that. There is a standard format to it. So there's really also only so much information you can put to it, right? So again, a disclaimer, there's a lot of information into this. Pick really what's best for you. Just to make sure that we are on the right track, I am putting the challenge here again, and then it is to propose a practical and sustainable AI integrated solution that delivers clear public good and addresses a real world challenge. We need to follow the key focus areas by google.org, right? Knowledge, skills, and learning, scientific progress, and stronger communities. And the deliverables, right? We need to produce a PDF written proposal in English, maximum 5 pages. So the font size 12, spacing 1.5. It may be a lot, but by the time you start doing all your research and putting things in, it may not be enough. So again, all the things that we are going through, really pick what works best for you. And after that, we have a 3 minute pitch video. I'll bring you through what we think it's a good submission, right? I think this one is very important. This was on your website, and I totally agree. You need to keep your message simple, right? Use visuals, storytelling elements, any real world examples. You got charts, graphs, anything like that. Put it in. Very crucial for your application. Okay, so who am I? I am a specialist of entrepreneurship here at the Student Success Center in SUSS. I've been working in the Institute of Higher Learning's entrepreneurship centers for more than a decade, helping startups grow, helping them pitch, helping them get funding. Prior to that, I had 4 startups myself, one successful exit, and I love the idea of space entrepreneurship with the amount of accessibility that's coming up for everyone now. I think space will be something that is available for everyone in the very, very near future as we perhaps reach singularity. And yes, AI is a very, very big thing inside there, right? Happy to talk more about that in the future. Okay, now let's jump straight into it. I'm very aware of time and I want to make sure I keep some uh, Q&A time, healthy Q&A time for all of you after this. Let's start with your problem statement. Everyone is moving into this. We title it as a problem statement, but also there could be an opportunity in this, right? Every problem there's an opportunity. But let's look at the problem first. We need you to clearly define, right, in one sentence, what it is. What is your real problem? What are you trying to solve? Now, after you got that, back it up with your information. Exactly where is it in ASEAN? Which country? Or are you looking at something that's regional? That's great. I mean, that's the dream, right? It's an ideathon. But as we progress into your submissions, you need to be able to substantiate that. Why do you think that your solution will be able to spread across countries? I'll get to that, right? So start backtracking again, right? What exactly is the problem? Where specifically in ASEAN? If you have numbers, even better, right? Who is affected by a problem that you are trying to solve? Now, again, it's great to put in ideas, but you do have time. I know the submission is when 24th of March. There's enough time for you to go and look for some good numbers, right? Exactly who is affected by it. Can you describe them? Right? Don't just say how many people or how many inhabitants of this community. It may be better for you to describe specifically who are these inhabitants. Reason why is because later on, when you talk about your target market, this you've already done the work. You don't have to go and do the work all over again, right? Or you won't get surprised by it. You already done the work. Now, when I put here, where is the problem taking place? I don't just mean your country. Can you go deeper? Is it in your communities? Is it between specific industries? Is it between specific companies? Is it between the government and the citizens? There is fragmented information due to pockets of information owned by different owners, right? These are things that we need to know because then the judges will have a clearer picture exactly what it is you're trying to solve. In my years of startup experience, I have understood or I have come to understand that many people or many applicants, when they put in their suggestions or their startup ideas, they go straight to the functions. They just go straight to the technical part. I have a solution that does this and that, but you haven't really told us why. Why is this? Why is this solution so important? Right? Why is the technology that's coming in as a solution so important? Who needs it? Right? These are things that we're really, really trying to identify here. Again, so that I don't sound like a broken record, but when you talk about your target customers in the future, it makes things very, very clear. Right? Now, the next one. That's a great idea you put up. Again, it's an idea ton. But is there any urgency to this solution? Is there any urgency to this problem? Is it something that is good to have? Or is it something that will make a major change in the social impact in the community if it is not fixed right now? So we need to understand, right? Is there any urgency to it? Now, if we dive even deeper, I know I'm spending a lot of time on your problem statement, but trust me, this really helps with your business modeling and this really helps with everything else later on, right? So if we dive deeper, again, you have time, right? So do you know what is causing it? Or is it something in which it's just you feel it as a single person, commuting day to day, right? Or trying to connect with some organizations or industries, and you're just feeling it as a single person, right? That's fine too. Later you can validate. Right. So again, diving deeper, do you know what is exactly causing it? Is it caused by infrastructure gaps? If you can identify it, great. Again, if you got the numbers, great. Is it caused by policy gaps or financial barriers or cultural barriers? These are very good to understand. For example, if you are talking about launching something in one specific country, right, and you don't look at the cultural barriers or anything like that, now when you want to scale in terms of ideation, but again, this could be something that could be real. When you want to scale in the future, at least you already identified this. So that brings me to an idea, right? So when I saw questions just now on um, about the business model or does it need to be something real? This is my advice to you. If you're taking part in stuff like that, right, in competitions such as this, where you have mentors dedicated to you, where you have time spent, right, from the teams that's organizing it and being dedicated to you, I mean, you yourself are putting in a lot of effort to create something like that. One of the things in which I always advise my startup founders is before they became startup founders and they were taking part in competitions such as this, right? One of the things I always advise them is do the work, like as though it's really going to be a real business. Because you never know. You never know that an opportunity can actually emerge from this. Because you've done the right work and you really saw the opportunity, you put in the numbers together and you go, hey, actually, this is a real market that could happen. Okay. So the next one, let's continue on the problem statement. See, I spent a lot of time on this, right? Um, my on my screens, I can't see questions coming in, right? No, not because okay, I don't know whether there are questions coming in, but I just can't see it. So I will, I think, pause sometime later on to take any questions. But for now, because I can't see anything, I'm just going to carry on, right? So let's continue the problem statements. Now this is the part in which you can really, really quantify it, right? If the problem is not fixed now, right? What happens? What happens if it's not fixed? Is there any disaster? Is there any economic cost? Is there any social cost? Right? You've identified that problem, but it's been like that for a while. So people can still continue living, right? Right? If it's not that urgent, if it's not that disastrous, people can still continue living. Things can still continue to function. So if it's not fixed now, what happens? Let's try and understand, right? Why are you really going to do all the effort later on? If it's not fixed now, right, is it going to be a problem later, right? Now versus 10 years. So I come from Singapore and we have an aging population. 1 in 4 within the next 5 years actually will be age 65 and above, right? So if we don't have a lot of solutions now for the aging population, I can say yes, we can still live, no problem at all. But in a few years from now, it's going to be a big challenge for a lot of seniors if we don't have assistive technologies, inclusive technologies, digital literacy, how to use AI and so on, right? So these are examples that I'm just going to use. Some of the things about health risks. Are there any health risks you are solving? How many are affected if you're looking into any medical usage, medical solutions, health solutions? These are fantastic numbers to put because you don't just want to say in the future that this AI or this solution, AI-based solution that you're doing is to actually help hospitals or to help so and so without giving any specific documentation. Sorry, can I just give me a second? Okay, right. So, for those of you that are looking at something that is more widespread, global, if you're looking at geo observation using AI for that, maybe to stop deforestation, maybe to stop particular landslides in communities or in certain urban locations or rural locations, right? Are there any environmental damage that you are preventing, right? What is the scope? What's the cost of it if it's not prevented? So these are, again, just giving you some ideas. I'm sure all of you already have those that you're coming in. But again, AI really is spread everywhere now. What's the real use of AI? And I always say this, when I went to buy a rice cooker the other day, I was told that my rice cooker also has AI. Let's be real about the type of solution that we're trying to create here. Social inequality. Now, there is this saying when we look at ideas, right? If it's going to be very deep tech and it's going to be very hard to implement, it's future ready. It's great, right? But there's a lot of effort into it. Now, that's something that is quite scalable towards the end of the day, and a lot of investors like that. But then that also stirs a lot of solutions to that direction. Now, how about the more application ready solutions, those that there's an immediate need? And sometimes it is right in our face, right? Do you have AI solutions that are helping those that require sign language help and so on, right? Now, there are some solutions already in the market, but is it available right through Southeast Asia, right? They may have been already created, but they just can't be able to be implemented in your country, right? So these are things also that you can think about now. Again, I think this challenge, what we're also looking at is not just the use of AI, but also part of the social impact that we can produce from our solutions. I'm thinking whether I should take any questions actually. Uh, let me let me just continue first. So, as I mentioned earlier, is your AI solution something that is good to have? Now, be very clear. How can the automation or the prediction or personalization improve outcomes? We need to be clear, even if you think that it is given that we understand it. In your proposal, it's really good to actually write it down. The current problem is created because of what, right? Is it manual processes? Is it high cost to do something different? Is it pure poor accessibility from your target markets? The solution is already available in the urban areas. It's just that accessibility is very, very poor in the rural areas. Now, how do you down? Then it's very clear. Your solution can be able to address that. Is it caused by a fragmented market? The solutions are just basically to integrate, right? Existing solutions that are already out there. Can you make health professionals, medical professionals, all talk to each other, from caregivers to hospitals to clinics, all the data entry of citizens go into different depositories. How do they all talk for more efficiency? Of course, there's all PDPA regulations and all that. We have to look into that. But this is something to think about, right? Or is it caused by just lack of personalization? Something is just generic. And this is something that, again, is it a good to have, or is it something that's going to be very, very real? And one thing that we will talk about in our proposal writing also is it scalable, right? So when you talk about the problem statements, when you talk about your problem, do share a little bit more about your country. A lot of times we have a lot of technology floating around in Singapore, but when we talk about scalability, you would find that a lot of our solutions actually move overseas. Why? Because we have a small population. And for us to be a little bit more profitable, we need a bigger population to be able to grow, expand, and get more market share. So this is where I'm talking about. Okay, now your target audience, you do have marks allocated for that. Don't just mention one particular group. Okay, bear in mind that when we talk about target audience, there are always the primary and secondary target markets. Right? Primary are really, really the ones you're trying to sell to. The secondary can be a spillover effect. Um, right? I don't want to talk about AI solutions. I talk about maybe a brick and mortar solution, right? So then you can get more ideas from there. So if you look at water coolers around Asia, some of them, the dispensers are in a cup, some of them will be in a cone, right? So if you look at dispensers that dispense water into a cup, some of the challenges around that water cooler may be littering. When you finish, you drink your water, you leave it on the table, half done. Right? You think you'll come back to it later, but you actually don't. Now, some move into actually having a cone because you can't leave a cone on the table. You actually do have to finish the drink that you poured, the water that you poured into that cone, and then find a bin and throw it in. So, who are your primary target markets? And again, what is the secondary target markets that would, or maybe in this aspect, created by the secondary value, right? That reduces littering for this particular solution. So, be clear. Maybe you can start with what is it first? Is it a B2C, a B2B, or a B2G? And then after that, move into your secondary markets. I've seen a lot of startup solutions when they talk, they go, oh, I'm doing a B2B2C. Yeah, that's great. But remember the words on the website, and remember the starting of this sharing is make it simple, make it sure that everyone can understand. So some would like to know exactly what is your B2B to C to D to whatever, right? So just make it clear, right? Firstly, we're going to go to B2B and then our secondary markets because we've already gone to B2B. We've gone to our SMEs, we've gone to our corporations, and they are going to redeploy back to the beneficiaries in that area, which are your B2Cs, right? So these are things that you can write about. So your primary market and your secondary market. Okay. Checking time. Everything is very quiet. I'm just going to stop share here. I want to stop share because I want to be able to take some questions immediately, and then after that I can move on again. Okay. Shijian, Xiamin, that's okay, right? For me to just take some questions and then I jump in again later.
Yep, yep.
Okay, I see 10 things here. Any inclined citation format we need to follow, like APA or Harvard citations. This is a proposal you're putting in. It's not an academic paper. I normally don't see citations and all that in proposals unless you are doing referencing to specific data sets, facts, stats. If you're saying there is a compounded annual growth rate of 35%, within the next 5 years for the AI economy, where did that come from? If you're saying space has the same compounded annual growth rate, and therefore you want to look at some solution for space and for AI combined, where are the stats to that? These are things that you need to put in. Can I use simple words in creating a position paper or go very deep words? I I always say go simple, right? But some words if I saw just now there was a question on data centers. If you're looking at creating physical reservoir computing combined together with FPGA boards to be able to disperse heat more efficiently and perhaps maybe create an AI chip there, these are things that you need to say, right? Specifically, then try and explain it in more simple words. I hope that answered that question. What is my target market is for all kind of people. Yeah, that's great. I mean, okay, let me help you think about this again, right? If you're selling something to teenagers, what is the definition of teenagers? We are looking at 13 to 19. Now, then my question to you, right? If you're selling designs on or you're selling particular t-shirts, would a 13-year-old wear the same design as a 19-year-old or a 19-year-old wear the same design as a 13-year-old? So these are things that we need to think about. I hope that answered that question too. Do we add reference section and does this count in page limit? I don't know actually. This one maybe Chijen or whoever can come in. I would say normally we don't count references, right? If you're looking at academic papers, we won't count that because we really want to see your content. The references are to prove that the content is right. Okay. What else is there? Hi, Jericho for the public. Oh, okay, that's Xiaomian. Uh, okay, I think I answered those questions. Proposal is a must to 5 pages or just up to 5 pages. I would say up to 5 pages, but that's real estate that you can use to help you position your solution in a much better way. It's really real estate. So I would still recommend for you to try and use that. I mean, once you start writing, right, you will find that eventually you might actually run out of space. If you're really doing good research and so on, and then you start putting in graphs and charts and so on instead of saying it in just words, right? So I would say up to 5. Is there any minimum articles or journals for citations? I don't think so. If you're really trying to prove a lot of facts, you don't want to just get it from one journal or from one citation. You need to have the good and the anti-good, right? What is, and then you find common ground. Really, what is the facts that you're really trying to write on? Is there a specific format required for the proposal? You can, well, I mean, I'm spending some time with you. You can try going with the formats that I'm going through in my slides. Start with the problem statement, then move on to the target audience and so on. This kind of formatting, and then if you go through enough, you would find that actually you have enough content to actually even build a business model canvas for those of you who are studying or working with business model canvases, right? Because we are really talking in terms of feasibility, in terms of scalability. You need to look at who can build it. You need to look at who you can sell it to. What's the resources? Um, do you find it from yourself? You think you can build this, or who else can do it for you? These are things that you need to think about. So I would say you can try my format uh, in the order in which I'm delivering this. Yes. Okay. So the requirements are on the website. Yeah, I'm going to take that disclaimer just in case I tell you you don't need to do something and something's there, right? Yeah. So in submission requirements, follow the website. I'm just giving you advice. Okay, I am going to share again because I think I got quite a bit and I'm only on target audience. Similarly, maybe after a couple of slides, I will stop again and I will do Q&A. Okay? Okay, let's get back into it. Now, this is the exciting part, right? What exactly, some reason, there we go. Okay, so what exactly is your AI-based solution? Right. I mean, that's why we're all here. All right. So I explain how the AI technologies will be used in your solution and why is AI suitable, right? Why is it a suitable, innovative, and responsible approach? So what does your AI solution do? Help remind us again, right? If you're going to put this AI solution out, exactly who is it helping? And don't forget, right? This competition, you got to follow a couple of focus areas that is set by Google.org. Knowledge, skills, and learning, scientific progress, and how it builds stronger communities. So channel it around there. For us to also, or for the judges to also specifically understand how your AI solution is. Now, everyone can put in an idea and say my AI can do this and do that. Like I said earlier, I bought a rice cooker that has AI. It cooks rice. Okay. But that's not what we want to put into our submissions, right? Now, how at a high level, explain to us how does it work? If you want to do a flow chart, that'd be great. If you want to do some pictures in a journey, that would be great. But at a minimum, think about this, right? Why is it unique? And why again is AI suitable here? Do we even need AI? Right? Everyone's talking about AI now. Do we really need it? Is it a specific automation actually that can do the job, right? Or do we really need to move into AI here? And exactly what are we doing? Are we doing personalization? Are we trying to automate at scale? Does your solution do some sort of pattern recognition? Does it have any predictive capability? Um, if there's any more things required to this, I think AI Singapore can come in. But at the base level, again, at an ideathon, these are things that we look at. What are the core components, right, of AI? So to help us understand as well, is it generative? Are we using computer vision or NLPs? Why? Because maybe you are saying that your solution, you believe that maybe, just as an example, some of the ASEAN states can also use it. So you intend to scale country to country really fast, right? Then of course we need to understand about language processing, right? Or is there machine learning prediction? Right, or whatsoever, right? So these are things that you need to put in for us to also understand. And of course, where are you getting all your data sources from? Right. So if you're doing geothermal exploration, or if you're doing landslide prediction or anything like that, you're putting IoT sensors onto trees, and then after that, that's the databases that you're using, or are you tapping from government databases, satellite data? For computer vision, right? Looking at pictures of national disasters or anything like that, or are you using user-generated data? These are good because then it helps us understand as well. You're coming up with this great idea, but then where really are you getting all the data sets to make sure that your training, your AI model would work at the end of the day? Now, moving a little bit into your business model canvas, right? Is your AI solution actually feasible? Technically, is it feasible? Right? There's a lot of things that we can think about. Now, I don't think you're going to be okay. Maybe AI Singapore can jump in on this later, right? I don't think you're going to be penalized for dreaming big, right? I don't think so, right? But I'm just doing a disclaimer there, right? Uh, what can help if you're dreaming really big and you don't think the data is available? At least maybe you can help identify where you're going to get the data from, right? How to get it, right? How to make it available. These are things that we like to see your thought processing. But again, if it's not in the right direction, maybe Chijen or Shami can jump in and let our participants know. Right. Also, is the infrastructure ready and reliable? Right. If you're moving into real rural areas and you want to do something very fantastic, using high technology and so on, with a lot of magnificent data sets that's required. What's the connectivity? What's the cloud interface there? Right. This also will help us understand better whether your model is actually going to be feasible. So, we put in here, where is the pilot location? So earlier we spoke about the problem statement. Where is it happening in ASEAN? Is it happening in your community? Is it happening in communities you drove past? Things like that. Uh, or it's probably not happening there, but you've seen it happen somewhere else, or you believe from research and data that is happening there. So let's identify, right? So now is the time, right? Let's identify exactly where do you think this pilot location would be? With who? With what industries, right? That gives us a better picture that you're actually really thinking about it, right? And again, like I mentioned earlier, when you think about it that way, it really helps you. Should ultimately, at the end of the day, this really works out, right? You put the whole plan together, you win or you don't win, at least you have that plan there, right? And if you really want to do this for real, at least you already know, okay, I have a starting point. When I don't know whether this will happen in this competition, but in other competitions that I've been in or judged in, so some of the common questions will be, if this is good, we let you win, we give you funding. Where's the first place you're starting? Right? If I want one product tomorrow, how fast can I get it? If I want 10 products, can you make it? Who's making it for you? So these are things that normally I experience. Now, again, ideating, I don't think you'll be asked that. But in all honesty, it's good to think about it because, again, I mean, I know I keep on repeating because I really come from an entrepreneurship DNA. It's great to have all this in. So, should you really want to launch it one day, you have that opportunity. Do you have the required expertise, or do you need to find any partnerships to make it feasible? Uh, Sometimes we stop dreaming big because we go, oh, maybe we don't have the business background, or maybe we don't have the tech background. Don't stop dreaming big, right? You acknowledge that you don't have those backgrounds. That's the first point, right? And then after that, now then you let us know, okay? You have 70% of it because of your background. Your remaining 30%, we are going to look for what type of partnerships and so on. These are things that would be great for us to understand also. Uh, Again, all this, I'm really giving you a lot. So if anyone joined in once I started my presentation, you probably didn't hear it. So I'm going to do a disclaimer now, right? All this, I'm really giving you a lot. Pick what works best for you to be able to submit in your proposal. And again, remember, you only have 5 pages, right? So again, just do your own funneling, right? What are the development, deployment, and maintenance costs for your AI model, for your solution, or for your integrated solution, or is there any additional costs that is coming up or reducing because of your integrated solution to the original solution, right? The solution that's existing. And also, what are the regulations or ethical considerations to have? Where are you getting your data sets from, right? Is there any PDPA rules you're breaking or anything like that? All right. We got a startup that does fall detection, and it became a big deal because anyone can just put cameras at home and detect falls from elderlies, but that infringes on privacy because you get to see the whole person. Right. So therefore, detection is using AI and lasers. All right. So a person can have fall detection cameras at home, but their privacy is not infringed. All right. It's just detection, and should they fall, then their caregiver gets the alarm. Right. So these are ethical considerations we really, really need to think about. It's very easy to put a camera anywhere, but then someone's privacy is at risk then. So think about that. So yeah, some of the things that I thought, data privacy laws, yes, AI governance frameworks, are they different from country to country, or are you even just aware of the governance frameworks for where you want to start your pilot, right? What's the transparency there? Okay, and then scalability and impact. I think what I can do, on slide 11 or 16. I can stop again after this, just handle a few questions and then I'll move on. Okay. So scalability and impact, how your solution can grow beyond the initial implementation. How do you scale it? So you already created it in the pilot location. This is the question, right? So you already created it in the pilot location. Have you thought about it being successful? And then now you want to bring it somewhere else. How do you bring it further? Right? Do you do that through partnerships? Do you do that through subscriptions, right? From a SaaS model, software as a service, right? Or APIs, right? How you going to bring it past your pilot location into the bigger scheme of things in the country, in the city, or even to your neighboring countries? When you're looking at scaling, also do consider the language, the culture, the infrastructure. Certain things may be able to sell in one country, and certain things are a big no-no in another country, right? And certain way of doing things, certain methods of banking, right? Some countries prefer cash, some don't want to use cash at all, right? So these are things that you need to think about. And finally, right, on this line, when you move on past the pilot program, uh, and you are looking at building maybe new infrastructures or tapping on existing infrastructures, the costs go up. Can the people there or whoever your target customers, if you're going B2B, you're going to B2G, right? Can they pay for it? Right. This also, I mean, everyone has a great idea, but at the end of the day, if you want to take it further, is it sellable? Can someone pay for it? So again, for those of you who just joined, I'm giving you really a lot here. I'm going to say this a few times in case there's more people that join in along the way, right? So those of you that just joined, I'm giving you a lot. Pick what you can use, right? And then also, what are the positive outcomes, right? We want to understand the impact now, right? We want to understand the impact. So you recall your problem statement, why you're doing this, how many lives are you saving? How many communities are you saving? Is there anyone you're improving in, or is there a community you're improving in digital literacy, financial literacy, things like that? So again, is there economic or time savings? Is there any improved health outcomes or social inclusion? What you're doing is helping people who have who are visually or hearing impaired. somehow, right? Or increase in accessibility. So assistive technologies, right? You're linking hardware and you're linking the software in together. Is there with so whatever you're coming up with is assistive technologies, and is that increasing the accessibility of how many people to do what, right? And again, it may really help again for startups, right? Or for folks that are looking into things like that. It really helps when you create something that your city needs, your country needs, right? It's aligned with their economic blueprint, or it's aligned with their social blueprint, or it's aligned with perhaps UNDP goals, right? You wanna get how many unbanked to be banked, right? Set up banking accounts and so on, right? So it that with that, then you have a lot more traction, a chance to get traction. You pack on them, you pack on their desired outcomes, and you get your inertia, your momentum there to scale. Again, ideating, but it's good that you identify all that, put it in so that the judge can look at it and go, yes, you have been thinking about it. It is not just about some functional, technical thing that you're trying to do. You've really thought about the whole ecosystem there. Okay, I am going to stop again and take any questions. Should our idea be included in the business model as it will be targeted to public without any revenue? The idea, yes, the idea should be included in the business model. Is the whole business model revolves around your particular idea, right? So with that idea, then you look at the resources required to build that idea. How do you get the idea out into the market and so on? So yes, the whole idea and the business model have to work together in one. Our solution focuses on matching enterprises with AI startups to solve real-world problems and accelerate AI deployment. Would this be considered a direct fit under the stated focus areas rather than an intermediary platform? All right, so this is a very AI-specific question. I will leave this particular question to AI Singapore to answer. All right. Uh, oh, okay, it has been answered already. All right, fantastic. Okay, and then is it mandatory to meet all the specific focus areas outlined by google.org or demonstrating alignment in one? I think the answer is actually one. Yeah, it should aim to achieve one or more of the focus areas, right? One or more. Okay, so there is no other questions to this part. I will just continue again.
Raphael, actually
Yep.
there are a bit more questions if you scroll upwards.
Oh, is it? Okay,
Could
I'm
you give
sorry.
us any tips on how to improve storytelling in the proposal? Yeah. I think around 3:56 p.m. Yeah.
That's a very interesting question. You see, it's depending on how you structure your. It really depends on how you structure your problem statement, right? So if you start with the problem definition of how many people are affected and so on, and it's so drastic that if you don't fix it, these people or these communities will be suffering what, and then and then it starts from that way. You get a story out, but it won't be a very very personal story. I find that yes, you can play around with storytelling, but would it be better in your 3-minute pitch? That's something to think about, right? In your 3-minute pitch, there are many ways to actually really do your storytelling. If we want to look at it in the opposite, right? When you do a 3-minute pitch, technically that's where the story it is, right? Because you only got 3 minutes, and you need to be very sharp, you need to be very specific, and you need to hit that emotional trigger there. That's your storytelling. The proposal is more to justify the facts and figures in which you're telling your story on. So if you're saying certain things in your storytelling, like did you know that in the year 2010, 2040, this will happen, right? I would believe that your proposal would be, here are the figures, here's the referencing, here are the stats to show that this is actually really happening in 2040, right? So you can do storytelling, but in your proposal, but I think yeah, it's going to be a challenge for you to do it with a lot of stats and figures, unless you really start at the beginning with your problem definition, and you from that you have your emotional triggers there. Am I missing anything else? Does the idea have to generate revenue? No, normally when you do ideathons, you don't have to generate revenue. Um, but I think in terms of your scalability, you may want to consider thinking about how it can, like I mentioned earlier, about how do you get it out into the market, past your pilot location, you're going SaaS model and so on. So subscription base, or how does it work? Are you going in partnerships with governments? Are you getting grants? Things like that. Question about sustainability, scalability, and profitability. Should the business model be for profit or non-profit? Is it necessary that there is profit as long as the product solution will be sustainable and scalable? Okay, so yeah, this one again, it may be better for the organizers to come in and comment, but my humble take on this, right? If we are looking at a solution that is going out uh, to help others, right, and have good social impact, uh, investors will normally not want to look at something that is not for profit, right? They want to make a buck on it. But there is really nothing wrong in looking at a business model that is not for profit and really helping a social good. There are many other ways to make sure that you can break even on creating something that is not for profit, right? Government grants, partnerships, things like that, right? So there is no real right, no real wrong to this. My personal take is just a matter of which side of the coin are you standing on. I would like to know your view on breakdown of choosing topics, as you explained that we should look through from business point of view and target choosing topics. Should we see topic from the business point of view that can be profitable? I think I just answered that as well. In your defense, I think while you were typing, I was answering, right? Uh, but yeah, choosing topics or choosing solutions or choosing problems that you want to solve. Again, I think maybe we can look at that. It is a solution that you're trying to create. It is a social good that we're trying to do. Whether it is profit or not for profit, both are not wrong. If you have a mentor's point of view, a mentor's point of view was go look. Just get it out in the market, help people along the way, grants and all that will come in. If you look at it from an investor's point of view, no, they would say, no, let's not work on that. Let's not guarantee that. Let's look at something that is for profit so that you can scale, right? Because if you are not looking at for profit, how are you going to get it out into the larger market, right? Certain non-for-profits, not non-profit groups may only want to focus on specific communities or specifically in one country. They may not want to bring it out. So these are things that you need to think about. Do I need to have a demo for the project development if it's not finished yet? Uh, yeah, I guess the question then it depends on what is your demo, right? Could you play that during your 3 minute pitch and then your 3 minute video and then you do a voiceover? Uh, so again, it depends really on what is your demo. If you're doing something in just slides because it's again ideating, right? And you are able to link that into a journey and you put it into your deck, sure, I think why not? Sorry if I joined late. Is there any format for proposal we need to follow and any tips? Yeah, I've been going through that. I think maybe I'm not sure whether my slides can be shared or so on. But what I know is that this is recorded, so you can view it again later on. The formatting and the tips that I've been giving. I'm not giving you real formats here in terms of sequencing and so on. I'm just giving you my thoughts on how to write a better proposal. And as mentioned, I think starting with the actual problem is really really great, and then magnify understanding the cause, the magnitude of this problem, why it needs to be solved. Does it need to be solved now? Is it urgent, or does it need to be solved sometime later on? Do we have time to create a solution for it? Are we looking at future ready solutions, or are we looking at application ready to go because the need for it is urgent? We must solve it now, right? So these are things that you can talk about, and then after that into your target market, and then how you're going to build that solution. and then how you're going to scale it. Hello, there is no template to be followed for the proposal. Oh yes, okay, very good. Okay, Shamin, let me know. Did I miss any questions? I think I've covered everything.
Yep, I think you have covered everything.
Excellent. Okay, let me continue then. Okay, so next is your outreach plan, right? I like how you will raise AI awareness among at least 1,000 community members. So I'm reading this as a plan, right? I'm not reading this as something that you need to get out of the house and do immediately, right? To make sure that you get 1,000 community members. I'm reading this as a plan, right? So if I'm wrong, please correct me, AI Singapore, but I'm reading this as a plan. So outline how you will raise AI awareness amongst at least 1,000 community members to educate and encourage them to better understand AI and adopt, right? So, I mean, the plan, I've seen a lot of outreach plans actually in the decks that have been presented to my office over the years. And I guess the main question, right, is is it something that is marketing? Right? When you do your outreach, community building, yes, marketing. You let them know this, of this solution, and you send out surveys, maybe get their thoughts in and so on. Or is it relationship building? Right? How do you relationship build? Especially if you're looking at folks coming back later on, right? Following you or asking more questions or really trying to follow your idea in the future or your solution in the future. When we look at doing startups, we don't just look at one time. Right, we really don't want to look at one time. Our outreach for one time, what we're gonna do? We're gonna set up a LinkedIn account and then just go on everyone's page that comes along and click like, or just keep on asking everyone to connect. Have 10,000 followers, but we never connect. Right, these are the fellas that yes, it looks good. You got a lot of good vanity metrics there. Your LinkedIn has 10,000 followers, but you don't really connect with anyone else at all. They won't share your message for you, right? They will not also be your champions for you. So everyone or every country, also country specific, have a way to get your message out. I'm just giving you the overall here, right? So social media is great, but don't just mention the platforms in your outreach plan. Don't just mention, oh, I can, promote something on TikTok. I can do something on LinkedIn, and so on. Everyone does that, to be honest with you. If you've seen enough decks and enough proposals, you will see it in every single, nearly 99.9% of submissions will say that. What makes you different? If you really want to score in this area, think about it. What makes you different? And most of the time, we look at really what's the campaign. So you can say, yes, I can be on LinkedIn, I can be on this and that, but what is your marketing campaign for relationship building? Right? Think about that. I don't want to give you specific answers because everyone comes from different countries and everyone comes from different communities and have specific solutions. But you must think about what is the specific campaign or the engagements or the content that you want to write. Don't just talk about the platforms and I'll do it and I will post things there. You need to plan out. Right, so if you're into media and so on, you do have calendars, right? That or actual plans to get your content engaged. Something for you to think about. Will you be, in your plan also? Yes, I know it's AI and it's digital, but a lot of time relationship building doesn't really happen over the computers, right? So will you be approaching anyone? Again, this is a plan, right? Do you plan to talk to any universities, right? Since all of you here or most of you here may come from them, right? Are you talking to any tech transfer officers that they would be happy to put their university brand on your solution, and that way you can also be a sort of champions for those educational institutions and quite easily get an outreach into those students there. Think about stuff like that, right? Um, so I put it here. Will you be approaching anyone? This is really a question. If you're going to be testing this in a pilot location, who are the people there? If you want to just talk about general AI and get awareness into this, what's your campaign? Right? Yeah, really to each their own. And I can't say exactly how Philippines or Vietnam or Taiwan should do it, right? Because really, this is very country specific. But what I can do is like what I'm doing, giving you some advices. Um, Some of the ways as well, we notice in outreach when we start sending out a request for information or surveys or anything like that. We are trying to build this. If we do this, will you use it? Right, things like that. Then folks will go, oh yes, that's very interesting. I will follow your LinkedIn now, or I follow this now to learn more, right? Because you promise to keep them updated along the way of your technology advancements or the people you're helping or the story that you're trying to build, right? Exactly who are you helping in this? I think also what will be really good is that you actually have a timeline. So the timelines are all on the website. This competition starts from when to when. You may want to actually utilize that timeline, right? The starting point can be as of today, right? And how do you intend to get your 1,000 community members to be part of or how can you raise awareness with your 1,000 company members, right? In this timeline. Okay. So with that, I think I want to talk about the final checklist. Now, I know when you put in into the portal, you already have to key in certain things, but it does help. It does help to put it on your proposals. I've seen proposals and decks that come in, and yes, there is that portal to have the name, the application form and so on. But when we're looking at it, sometimes it really helps to actually have the name of the team members, your project name, and all that there for quick reference, right? Trust me, as judges, it helps us do our job a lot better. We don't have to be frustrated looking for who is this entry, right? So your final checklist, make sure your project name there, your team members. Um, uh, I think maybe it's also on the platform, but it does help also to put on your submission who is the key person, right? So anything happen or something that is needed to be clarified, the judges don't want to be or the organizers don't want to be calling five people, right? They want to have that one responsible key person they can get feedback from, right? Method of contact, what's your vision statement? So it really helps. I know it's not required in your judging rubrics or anything like that, but it does really help set the tone, right? Someone asked about storytelling earlier. I would say this one is more tone setting. It does help. So what's the vision for this project? Inspire us, right? When we read it, we want to go, wow, okay, this submission is serious, right? They are really looking at changing the world, right? By the year 2040, right? We will have what? We will have this, we will have that, right? How many people will have access to something, right? And so on. So inspire us with that. Be a bit more specific also, like this is a solution specific for where. So then we also understand, okay, this is where you're trying to solve. So it paints a better picture for us. And then after that, I think for the judges, it will be very useful for them as well to mention in your proposal you are trying to solve or you are addressing which one of Google.org's key focus areas, right? They may look at classifying the entries later on. So this is something that would be very good to help them with. Okay, I'm on slide 13. Maybe I will just go straight into making the pitch video. I'm just checking the time for 26. I think maybe I will do that and then we can go into proper Q&A for everything. Okay. So for making the pitch video, I've only got one slide, right? And reason why is because you've already got all the information you need in your proposal, your 5-page proposal, right? You have all the data there. You have everything there. Now, how do you tell the story? How do you make it work for yourself, right? How do you wow the judges? My preference, of course, everyone can do it differently, but my preference is really just go straight to the point, right? Right, because again, you only have 3 minutes, right? And if you rehearse it well and you do it properly, and your and you have three in your team, all three can also speak, right? So uh, to me, your 3 minutes is when you really make that impact. Don't worry about referencing or anything like that. That's really in your proposal already. So wow us for that 3 minutes, right? Did you know? Start it off by a question, right? Film yourself, right? Of course, it's a video that you have to submit. Are you going to do a voiceover on an animation? Are you going to do a voiceover on your prototype? Or are you going to film yourself like how I am doing now? talking, right? And then after that, I switch, right? So I'm talking, or on Zoom you can also do that with the speaker in the background and the solution at the back, the slides at the back. Are you going to do are you going to do that? So again, 3 minutes. You can start with a question. Do you know? You can start with a statement in 2030. The something something something, right? Or now comes to storytelling. You want to make it personal. Every day when you, or every day when I wake up, I experience this. Have you experienced the same thing, right? And do you know that it is not just us that's in this, our whole community, or 10,000 people, 100,000 people are also experiencing the same thing. And they've been doing it, and they've been experiencing the same negative thing for the past 10 years. Now it's time to make a change. We propose, go for it straight away, right? For the past 10 years, we have been, yeah, that's what I mentioned. All right. Again, now show the impact of that, right? Impact as in the real seriousness. If this thing is not addressed now, what happens? Or fine, if you want to, if this thing is going to be a major crisis 5 years from now, aging population, we need to make sure that everyone has financial literacy, digital literacy, right? So it's not happening now, but in a couple of years, so we have time to prepare, right? So if this thing is not addressed now, it will be good for you to quantify and validate. Like I mentioned earlier, the component annual growth rate for AI, right, within the next 5 years is going to be 35% conservatively, right? But I think it has changed a bit now, right? So based on that, what's happening in the future? So you've got all these numbers, right? Say it, right? You've got, don't waste it, right? Put it in there. But again, remember, you only have 3 minutes, and make it relevant and make it simple so that someone who doesn't know anything about AI can actually really understand it. Someone who doesn't know what social impact is or so on, by listening to it, maybe they start to understand, or maybe even have a tear coming out. All right. I'm sure some of you can tell good stories. Okay. So one is the current solution. Why is it not working well? This is something judges would like to know, right? So then we understand, why do we really need your solution? Are you sure that there is real no current solutions? Or even solutions that are paper based and so on. These are still solutions. This is the current way of working. What you're proposing is to change it, right? But then yeah, these are things that you just got to mention. Okay, why is it not working well? We know that all this, say it in one statement. Again, 3 minutes may be a lot, but when you really start preparing for it, I can tell you 3 minutes is not a lot. I do practice a bit of 3 minute videos. I've just spoken for, I think, close to an hour, or maybe more than an hour. But someone like me, who can speak for 1 hour and even more, when you ask me to do a 3 minute video, I need practice too, right? So similar to all of you, think about your facts, your figures, everything that we put in your proposal. Make it one sentence, make it sweet, right? Make it sharp. Right. So then what is your solution? How is it going to work functionally? And say in your video also, you are addressing what focus area, right? The rest there, you can read, how you're going to make it work, who is involved, who are the people that you're trying to help or save. And then after that, who is going to scale it. And lastly, a lot of teams do forget this, right? You work so hard on your solution. You work so hard on the market. You work so hard on validating, and then when we look at the pitch decks or we listen to your videos, we don't know who you are, right? You forgot to talk about yourself, right? You forgot to tell us that you are having a background in this, and that's why you're confident that this can work, or you have great access to the data, or so on. Yeah, you forget to introduce yourself, right? So these are things in which I see normally a lot of people miss out on. So with that said, I think I actually gone on for quite a bit. I will stop again and take questions. Now it's the Q&A time. If there are no questions, I think it's yeah, I've given you a lot. If there are no questions, I think you can email back the organizers or so on. If you miss any of the things I've mentioned earlier, there is a recording for this that you will have access to. I, I would say, when you move into something like this, the idea is to really have fun, and For me, again, I come from an entrepreneurship background. I don't want to waste my time doing something in which I'm just going to submit and then after that forget about, right? So do something that you think that after submitting and so on, regardless of the outcome, you've done your best. You've done great research, and you think there is really a potential market for this, and you may want to consider moving more into this, regardless the outcome of this competition. How about a video? Must include our face or something, or just like, yeah, look, I mean, I was actually thinking about this as well, and I was putting in the slides. It's not clearly, okay, it's not specifically, so I take back my words, right? It's not really specifically defined. And I've seen videos that, in 3 minutes, right? I've seen folks done, great videos where they actually have the animations and they have rocket ships flying and so on, right? And what they're doing is a voiceover. That's all they do. It's great. The impression is there. There's background music and so on. It's really great. But then there is that very fine line. A little bit too much of that, it looks like an advertisement, right? For a business that doesn't exist yet, right? And we don't know who you are, right? Because you do your voiceover and so on, right? We do not know the person behind this. We do not know whether we want to support the person behind this, right? But then of course that would definitely beat a very boring video recording of yourself, right? So I wouldn't say one rule for making the video. I would say again, what you're comfortable with, what suits you best, right? Some people, they are just afraid of being on the screens. They don't want their face to be seen. They prefer a voiceover. If you think you can do something great with that, if you think you can do something in which someone who is not proficient in AI can understand your solution, can connect with you immediately, then try that. Now, if you think that, oh, okay, you know what, I don't have all that prototyping yet, but I want to tell my story, right? I really want to get out there and I want to connect with the listener. I want to be able to show my emotions, my background, and so on. Then go with exactly that, right? Or you want to do a mixture of both. Then go for it as well. So we can talk, and then in the background, your solution is playing, right? And then did you know, whatever it is, or you're talking about, in the rural areas, there's a lot of climate change and so on. Now, if your background or your video has that, it helps us connect, right? We understand. It's a lot better than words only and just one background. So, there is no one real way to get it done, and every one of you have your own preferred method based on your own personalities and the type of resources that you have. Some may just want to do it on their mobile phone. I've seen submissions like that. Someone just does it on their mobile phone. Totally non-flattering at all, right? So boring. But then the content and the way that person was speaking, he went through the whole story. And I think that person went through into the finals, right? Just by doing it on the mobile phone, right? I'm not saying do it that way. I'm saying what suits you best. What is the submission deadline for the, there we go. Oh, I think I just mentioned that. Super Mario, can we use AI in utilize AI? Sure, you can. I don't see any problem in that, right? But like I said, then we like to understand you also as a person, right? If you think that utilizing AI and of course, AI voiceover and so on, I don't think there is any wrong in that. If you cover the main points, what is your solution and so on, I honestly don't think there is anything wrong. But then it ends up looking like an advertisement. And it really depends on the judges and what they're looking for. Are they looking to connect with you as a person, or are they looking for something that is really, really showy in your video? Right? I can't tell you one specific answer. Then because if I do, then we're not going to have a variety of submissions. And I know judges would like to see a huge variety in submissions. And that is what makes a competition great. So what I can say is really what works best for you. Okay, I'm just going to share my slides one more time. Okay, so that's me. If you want to connect, on the left is a QR code to my LinkedIn, right? And on the right is a QR code to my office, Office of Entrepreneurship here at SUSS. If you're interested about what we're doing, interested in just making friends, connecting, stay in touch. Yeah. So these are the QR codes, and I'm just going to leave that there for a while more. And with that, I would say thank you.
All right. Yeah, sorry, let me just share my screen also. I saw one question with regards to the 3-minute pitch video, whether we should include our face. No, you don't have to include your face in the 3-minute video. And also, I think you are asking what should be going inside the video. So we actually have already included some of this information on the main website. So you'll be able to read through some of the points here on the main website. Yeah. Okay, so let me just share back the slideshow. Yeah, so thank you once again, Raphael, for the very insightful workshop. I know you've been speaking for an hour, so hopefully you'll be able to drink something after this. Yeah. So we as a team, we hope that all participants here have found it useful and will apply all of these tips or a lot of these tips in your submission. So if you have not yet registered for the challenge, registration is open until the 24th of March on the website. So it's actually open, sorry, it actually closes the same date as the submission deadline. So that will be 24th of March. And if you haven't joined our Discord, please scan the QR code over here and come and say hi. So on the Discord, we'll be sharing reminders, some tips, and also updates. And you can also reach out to us for help via the help desk channel over there. Yeah. So thank you once again, everyone, for joining us today. We are really excited to see the kind of ideas that you'll bring forward in this challenge. Yeah. Let me just check the chat. Okay, it seems like it's all okay. So just a reminder to everyone, we have recorded this whole session, including Raphael's workshop as well. So we will be sharing this recording to all registered participants on the participant platform. Yeah. Okay. So that is all for me. Have a great evening, everyone. Okay, sorry. I saw one more question from Marcelino. So you have to submit it on the participant portal. But before you'll be able to access the participant portal, you will need to register for the challenge first. So you can register on our website. I've already included the QR code right here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Have a great evening, everyone. Thank you.